welcome to the channel and welcome to my shop. It's a rather small wood shop, and if you saw the thumbnail of the video, I posted on there some text that says before it's gone. Well, I am in the process of selling my house and moving, and this will not be here much longer because I'm moving to a bigger property and I'm actually going to be building a super big shop on that property, which is going to be awesome, and you guys are going to come along for the ride. I also have to do work in the house that I buy, so that's going to be all filmed, which is going to give you a lot of ideas for your house, a lot of trim work. I'll even include some of the painting and tips and tricks and anything that I can think of in between that's going to help you out with your home renovations. So the reason it took me so long to get around to doing this is because this shop is always changing. It's such a small space that originally, if you remember, I started in the garage, then I broke through into the basement just a little bit, took somewhat of the basement, I'll show you that, built out a platform, then moved into this section of the basement, had the wall closed off so that I could keep the dust out of the other side. I took over that side of the basement, broke the wall down that I temporarily had put up for a few years. All right, let's get started. Okay guys, I'm gonna get started with a really quick walkthrough of the shop the way I have it in its current state right now. You can see back here is my jointer planer, and it's stacked behind offcuts and half sheets of plywood, and it's going to stay there because I really don't have a need to use it right this second. These are the removable panels that I created so that I can get into this portion of the shop, which is the main shop. So you can see all my Festool sustainers in this little pushback of the wall here. I have my router table, my dust collector, and the dust bin. This is basically where the cyclone, all the debris from there goes in there, and then I empty the bin. So now we're getting into the main portion of the shop right here, and to the right I have nice open area now. I used to have a temporary wall across here, and I don't know if you guys remember, I built that so the dust wouldn't go on that side, but then I needed more room, so I had to take that over and take down a temporary wall that I built with just more work than I needed. So basically over there underneath the tops are my laser engravers, which I don't use too much. This is my edge banding station set up right here. The table, the edge bander, the drill press, which I hardly use, and some stuff I got stored underneath. This is the miter saw set up right there against the wall. Gives me plenty of room on both sides to make full cuts. And now we're moving to the spot where everything really takes place, is basically over here on the workbench and the MFTs, which form my crosscut station. And this is the workbench. I have a video on all these things, so if you're interested in any of the videos, just head over to my channel. You can see me do the full build on that. Underneath I have the STM 1800 that rolls out, and that breaks down full sheets of plywood. It helps me big time. Festool Vaxis, I'm going to talk about this in a little bit towards the end of the video. And basically from the back portion of the shop looking out, that's where I remove all the material after I build everything. That's where it all comes in, and that's where all the full built projects go out. Hey, now some of you might remember, those of you that have been with me from day one know that this is where it all started, right here in this small 1.5 car garage. It's probably more like just a 1 car garage. The only reason it's considered a 1.5 is because we have this little push out right here that actually gives you enough room where when you park a car in here, you can swing all the doors open and not hit the walls. It's not enough to talk about where it gave me enough room really to do the jobs that I was doing. It was very challenging, and now you can see I have my Ultra Limited here, my Harley Davidson, and it takes up just as much room almost as a car. So we don't even put the car in here anymore. I don't do any work in this portion of the shop anymore, so I'm not considering it part of the shop anymore. I keep my scaffold pieces in here, I keep the bike in here, I keep odds and ends in here, and things that I don't really use. Some offcuts of plywood I have on this side right here, and behind the plywood is my actual jointer planer. Okay guys, so kind of excuse the mess here a little bit. I'm working with a lot of stuff right now, and I'm in the middle of projects, and this is the jointer planer that I was talking to you about. It's a combination machine. You've seen me use it in a few videos. I don't use it that much, except for, like I said, when I'm milling lumber, and the reason I don't take it out for every single video where I do make cabinet doors is just because it's a time-consuming part of the video. So some of the videos I've done, I've displayed this and showed how it works, so you can always go back and you can see those videos on my channel. So this kind of lives in this spot, and when I'm ready to use it, it's on wheels, and it has a little lever that actually jacks it up in the front, and I'm able to swing it out and use the dust collection and mill it up through the entire length of the garage. So maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, I broke into this section right here and I built the platform out so everything was level and I can get into the basement, store stuff there, get it in and out of the garage easily, especially when I built cabinets. So these are just removable panels. You can see this one goes right here. They're just a little pressure fit, just like that. And when I need to get into the other side of the shop from the garage or remove anything, all I do is remove this panel right here and just put that just like that. I can remove this panel and now I have a nice big opening to get my material in and out of the shop. Now on this side here I have a little bit of a pushback, and so all my sustainers with all my tools stay in this area right here. This is key for me because I do a lot of on-site work and my entire shop is mobile. Using the Festool system and all my TSO products, I basically have everything right here that I need. Take it out when I need it, use it, I can put it away, wrap it up, put it into the trailer and get out to the job site and set up a whole wood shop in basically about 20 minutes. So let's talk about this side right here. This is the router table and this is my dust collection unit. This is a Shop Fox 1.5 horsepower dust collector. I only use the dust collector for the router table and the jointer planer because all of my other tools, the dust collection is the Festool CT26, which is a dust extraction unit with the cyclone separator right on top of the unit. I also did a video on that. I compared that to Shop Vac, so you can check that out. That's on my channel as well. All right, let's move into the main part of the shop where all the magic really happens. Okay, so you can see over my shoulder, here's just a bit of a sneak peek of the wide angle. You can see this is the basement portion of my house that I turned into a wood shop. Now I'm going to move the camera around so that I can show you the workflow and how I have everything set up so that you yourself, if you have a small shop, can get ideas, or even in general, if you're just setting up a shop for the first time, this will give you a lot of ideas. Here is the main work area of the shop. Now sometimes I turn the Workbench sideways like this and I work with it in this direction here, but this gives me a lot of room and a lot of opportunity to bring in my material. Right from there, drop it onto the table, do what I need to do with it, and then I can start, after I break it down, I can start to put it over to the crosscut station. I'm going to bring you a little bit closer so you can see the crosscut station and why I have it set up the way I do. Here is a quick pro tip. When you're making all your tables and you have work tables that are already pre-made, make sure that if you're going to make tables, they're going to be all the same height or just slightly lower than your already constructed pre-made manufactured tables, because what's going to happen is the workflow is everything slides from one table to the next, and not only will you be able to make a bigger assembly table, but heavy objects you'll be able to slide them from one table to the next without having to actually lift them up and hurt yourself or drop the project or whatever you're working on and damage that. See in the corner, I stack a lot of lumber there and a lot of pieces of the offcuts of plywood. Usually what I do is I'll stack my full sheets of plywood on the platform right there. Underneath the MFT, I have the Festool STM 1800, which I roll out. I bring up to the same height as all my other tables. I put the sheet goods on there. You've seen me use it before. It helps me to leverage a full sheet onto the cut station, and I can actually break it down. For the most part, I use the Workbench for assembling cabinets and keeping my tools in there while I'm working on it, sanding things. Sometimes I'll cut smaller pieces on here. Sometimes I'll break down a full sheet. If I don't feel like taking out the STM 1800 and setting that up, I'll just drop these scrap boards on here just like this. And you can see I have all cut marks and everything on them. They're abused. I have 3 of them. I laid 3 of them across there and I make my cuts, and you can see all my cut lines here. That allows me to not cut into the top of the workbench and damage the workbench. Here is a crosscut station comprised of 2 MFT3 assembly tables. Now, people always say to me, and I put this on Instagram a while ago, they say, why do you have 2 of the full MFT3 setups that has the accessories for both tables? It's much more expensive with everything. And the reason I tell them to actually, if you're going to do something like this, is to get the MFT3 with all the accessories on both, is because if you look now, and let's just say I need to cross cut something really long. Let's say I'm making I do a lot of built-ins and bookcases, cabinets. Let's say I'm making really tall sides of a bookcase, and I need to cross-cut a piece to length about, let's say about 2,200 millimeters. Now, if you need to set up your stop block here, which is at the end of the fence, you can only get 1,100. So 2,200 millimeters, or like 83 inches. You're not going to get that with the stop block here. So where are you going to get that repeatability on a piece that's too wide to cut on the miter saw if you set up a stop block on the miter saw? Now you have your setup here with your other fence and your other stop block, and these tables are locked together with the actual MFT connectors. Now you see when you move it, they move as one unit. If they shift at all, you're not going to change the distance from there to the cut line on your guide rail. So now when I need to cut something that's 2,200 millimeters, give or take, I could just go here like this and push that stop block back, and let's say, all right, I'm there all the way at the end. Now I'm at my 2,200 mark. And now you say, well, you're limited. Look, now you can't cut any more than 2,200. Well, that's where this really helps right here. You loosen this up, and now you have all of this fence, the length of this fence to move all the way this way here. Now I have even more repeatability at a longer length that you're not going to get anywhere else. You're not going to be able to do that on a miter saw with accuracy like that. If it's too wide for your miter saw, you're also not going to be able to get that length from parallel guides, because the parallel guides, especially mine, they only go up to 50 inches. So that's, you know, basically it. So anything over the 50-inch mark, you're kind of on your own. Now, if you want to go ahead and try to, you know, cut the pieces individually, you're not going to cut them exactly the same. You say you want to cut two pieces at the same time, you stick them down together, make sure they're in place, clamp them together. If one of them shifts and moves, they're not the same size anymore. So that's the reason I have the two MFTs. You'll also notice on that side there, I have the smaller accessory table MFT, and that's so that I have these long pieces like this to cut. What I'll do is I'll bring it up here like this. I have support. I'll bring it to the edge. I'll make my cut, square it up, and then I will actually flip the piece over so that I can put my mark on the stop block. Now, here's another thing that you saw me build was my work table. Now, this work table is just slightly lower than the MFT3, because like I said, you want to make sure you have all your tables roughly the same height so that you can have a workflow. Everything is just about even with each other. So now what happens is, after I make my cut and I set up a stop block here like this, I need to make some cuts here at this measurement right here. Let's say that that was my square end. So now I can basically bring my workpiece all the way down onto my work table, and I can set this up against the fence. I can hit my stop block. I bring my rail down, I make this cut, and this piece is not going to fall on the floor and actually come up and possibly injure me or have the blade bind on the cut, because you can't have this kind of weight with no support on that side. So that's why I set up my work table right there. So I have a total length of like almost 20 feet here. I think it's about 18 or 17 or 18 feet of a cut station. It also speeds up productivity because you're moving from one station to the next in a circular motion, just like this. So when everything's done, I can stack it here, I can stack it over there, or I can start to put it over there, and if there's smaller pieces, I can bring them to the miter saw, cut them on the miter saw, and then I can start to assemble my cabinets and whatnot, whatever project I'm building. Now here we are on the side where I have my miter saw. The miter saw is very important to my operation because it's where I break down my smaller pieces that need to be cross-cut, where I cut all of my angles essentially on smaller pieces, especially when I'm making doors and cutting moldings. This is the Festool dust extractor. I have it so that it rolls around the whole entire shop with me. That's why I try to keep all the floor space open, because this connects to every tool that I use, because it's the main dust collection for all the Festool system. So everything works in a system here, so all my dust collection for every tool runs through this right here. I put this little dowel on here with a hook, and that's just so that when I'm going around with the track saw, I can hook up the wire here and keep it up off the floor, because these have a tendency when you're moving around for the wire of the track saw. I usually throw the track saw up here, you've seen it all the time, and this hose doesn't get in the way, but the actual wire, the cord of the track saw, the power cord, it's very long. What it does is it falls onto the floor, and as I try to roll this closer to whatever I'm working on, I start to, you know, get caught, and it's kind of like a tripping hazard. I put it up on this hook that keeps it up off the floor, and everything rolls right out of the way perfectly. So the miter saw, okay, so here's my Kapex. I have the wings set up on the UG stand, and they have stop blocks on them. Now, the good thing about this is it's all mobile. It packs up its own wheels. It rolls right out into my trailer, and I get busy on the job site with it. I pack it back up, comes here, it sets up again in just about 5 seconds. It's really quick. It's simple setup, and being a small shop and doing a lot of work, simple setups are what you need. So, that being said, make sure that when you're setting up a miter saw station, you have ample room on both sides to cut long boards. Now, if you're looking at this and saying, well, how do you get repeatable cuts on long boards on just such a short extension? Well, these actually have a built-in extension wing on both sides here. And now, if you look a little bit closer over there, you can see that my drill press in the corner is actually lower than the Kapex. And the reason is that I'm able to put full-length boards across there without having any obstruction. This is my Festool Conturo edge banding machine. You've seen me use it a ton of times. This is the table for smaller pieces to be edge banded. So I drop it into the table for the smaller pieces. I run them through. Basically, what I do is I can leave the table in place if they are short enough not to run into the wall on that side. If they're a little bit longer, then I just slide the table out, I put it on an angle, and I can run the pieces diagonally in the shop with no obstructions. So that's not really a problem. Now over here, I have them covered up so that I don't get dust on them when I'm not using them. I don't use them really that often, but these are my X-Tool lasers. I did a video on those laser engravers. You can see that on my channel as well. Okay, so this is probably one of the coolest tools that I own. This is the Festool Vaxis vacuum clamp system. So I made this bracket to slide into the front of the MFT. It's actually removable. If I have to get this MFT out of here, with this on here, it is a lot heavier. What this does is it allows me to stick pieces down on this when the vacuum is applied. It sucks the piece down to this actual pod right here, and I'm able to sand without any of the workpiece moving. I'm able to edge band pieces. I'm able to apply dominoes, make the mortises for the dominoes with the domino cutter on this. Well, everybody, that was my shop. I know it wasn't much of a shop, but I hope you guys got some tips and tricks on setting your shop up if you have a small shop. This flow that I have going on right here definitely will help you out because it will free up some space in the middle. I could have a table saw in here if I wanted again, but I feel that because when I do the finishing process, I have to put everything away and cover everything up. I just feel that a table saw would just be in my way again. So that's why I use the track saw for everything with the parallel guides. I do have a DeWalt contractor saw that comes with the rolling stand. I keep that in my trailer. I don't use it very much. I do use it sometimes on job sites, but for the most part, I always use my track saw with my parallel guides, which I keep right here in a storage bag underneath my workbench. So everything is mobile and ready to go. So if you guys are working in, say, a one-car garage or a smaller shop, let me know. Put it in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think of this setup. Let me know if you guys think I have ample space here. So the dimensions of this area where I'm working right now is less than that of a standard 2.5-car garage. I'm going to be doing a full kitchen right now, and I'm going to be building that here in my current shop. So this is October of 2023. This is the only shop tour I'm going to be giving because anything in here, the way it is going to stay. Nothing's going to change because hopefully within the next few months I'll be out of here completely and set up in the new temporary shop. And then I'm going to be building a full shop on the property. So I'm going to be filming that as well, provided the general contractor who's going to be building that garage is going to let me film them. I don't know if they will, but I will try to get some shots, and I definitely, once it's done, I will have a full video on it. They allow in that township where I'm moving 24 deep by 35 feet wide by up to 15 feet high, which I don't need that much height. I can go anywhere between 10 and 12, which is perfect, but definitely the 24 by 35, which is a standard detached 3-car garage, is exactly what I'm going to do, as the permits will allow, so everything is done legally and the right way. Okay guys, I hope you're joining me for all of that, so I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me in my old shop, and hopefully you're going to see some videos still of me building the kitchen here in this old shop, but hopefully you guys will join me for all the new stuff. I welcome all the new subscribers, and I thank all of the original subscribers, especially the ones that have been there with me since day one in this small shop, starting out in the garage like we filmed before in the beginning. All right guys, I hope you got a lot of tips and tricks. If you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button, hit the picture of a notification bell. It's going to notify you every time I upload a new video, and I hope to see you guys next time. Thanks for joining me, and we're going to get building a full kitchen next on the next video, so let's get set up for that. All right guys, take care. I'll see you next time.